I can. Yes, I do. Well, I've got a place back here.
Okay.
I can.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Union County work session, Union County School Board of Education work session meeting for 6 o'clock to order. I'd like to thank all visitors and guests for coming out. John Hill, would you give the invocation?
Let's all bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the blessings that you bestow upon us each day of our lives, God. And I pray that you lead, guide, and direct this meeting and the 7 p.m. meeting. Glory be to you, God, and we need to make good decisions for the children of Union County, Lord. Thank you for all your blessings, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. The first item is the approval of the agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion. We approve the agenda with the removal of the 2 discussion items.
I'll make that motion, Madam Chair.
I'll second.
All in favor? Yes. Okay. Next item is budget highlights. Dr. Rayfield.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We want to share just some baseline information with you. We've shared this a couple of times already, 2 or 3 times to be exact. But we want to share some baseline information with you about our budget and about the process before we have the public input session, because I think it's important that we're all working on the same page with the information that you have in front of you. If you didn't get a handout when you came in, make sure that you got one of those, because it contains most of the information that I'll run through. I think before you can decide how much money that it takes to run a school system and what the needs of the students are, you've got to understand the demographics of the school system. And here in Union County, I think it's important to realize that we've got 15% of our student populations that have special needs in some form or fashion. And as we look across the district, we don't see very much in terms of diversity other than that. but we have to recognize the fact that those 15% of our students will require an extra amount of funding along with the extra amount of instruction from our staff. The other statistic about the demographics of our school system that is a little more telling is that as a district, we're 56% free and reduced lunch. And so that tells us a lot about the economic conditions that students have at home and throughout our community. That tells us that over 56% of our students are coming to us economically disadvantaged every day. Thus, they're going to require certainly a higher level of our attention, a longer list of services that we have to provide every day, and in actuality, certainly a higher expenditure per student because of the circumstances they and their families have to deal with. We're just one of several agencies that has to support those students and their families. We ran just a little bit of a couple of comparisons for you that we didn't have in the first meeting, but we had it a couple of times to share since then. If you look at per pupil expenditure over a 3-year average, these are the counties in our RESA district and outside of our RESA district. You'll notice that the State Department tells us on a 3-year average we're still spending about $9,600 per student. If you look around us at Towns and Raven and some of our neighbors throughout the RESA district, they are spending at a higher level than we are in terms of per pupil expenditure. So we're not the highest one out there, but we are providing an excellent level of service to our students. Those numbers come from 2014 through 2016. The millage rates tell the same story. If you look at millage rates for schools in our RESA district, 3-year average from 14 to 16, you'll notice that we run as high as 18.7 in Hall County. Notice that we're 11.79. Two counties that are lower than us, Towns and Raven, and they also have the nice option of having a penny sales tax that is in place all of the time, not just every 5 years, and they can use it for maintenance and operations and not just facilities. So the Georgia average is 16.32 meals for education. Over the past 10 years, because of the state cuts, those millage rates have been asked to be maximized at a maximum of 20 meals, and there are many counties throughout this state that are 18 and above. They're between the 18 and the 20 cap. So Union County is very, very fortunate to be able to have that millage rate at 11.79. And then here's our measure of success, or what the state has calculated to be our measure of success. It's called the CCRPI score, and this is just our system average. You'll notice that we don't have the highest millage rate, we don't have the highest per pupil expenditure, but we do have the #1 performance score amongst those counties that are highlighted. And I think that's certainly a testament to the work that our faculty and staff and employees do, absolutely. It's also a testament to the work that our students do and their families in supporting them in their educational efforts. But we are certainly funding it at a level where our students are performing way above the state average and way above our neighbors in the RESA district. And I think that's something I personally still have one child in high school, and I'm extremely proud to say that those are the numbers where my child is enrolled in high school in the state of Georgia, because I think it's an impressive number. We're at 84.6, Georgia average is 73.8. Another impressive number driven by the amount of time, effort, instruction, and funding that we put toward these efforts. Graduation rate over the 3 years has gone from 90.7 to 97.6, almost 98% graduation rate. If I didn't know that was an accurate figure from the State Department, I'd say that you were lying when you handed me that sheet of paper that there weren't high schools in this country that could graduate 98% of their kids anymore. That is legitimately happening here, and it is because of the strategies and the mechanisms that have been put in place to make sure that there are no excuses. Student is going to be successful. We're going to find a way for that student to be successful. But I will promise you this, 27, 28 years in this business, 14 of them as superintendent. Those results do not come without a price tag or a commitment from the board and the community to invest in public education. They do not. We can run that price per student down to $7,000 if you want us to, but we can also run all those other numbers down too, because that is exactly what will begin to happen over time if we do not hold public education as a funding priority. This is the budget. It has to be advertised in the paper. It has been talked about now at 2 public input sessions. It's been talked about in a training session, an additional training session with the board. It will be advertised in the paper. It has to lay on the table for 30 days after tonight, and then it will have final adoption at the June board meeting. You'll see this broken out by revenues and expenditures. Our general fund is what we try to focus on, because that's the day-to-day operations of the school system right there. You got ESPLOST and federal programs and all these other categories, but right here is the $29 million operating budget that we focus so hard to try to keep in line. And you'll notice $29,000 to the good. And that's about as close to being balanced as you want to be. And I think, again, that's a testament to the folks that work in the system. We're keeping our priorities where they need to be, but we're also thinking really creatively about how we staff schools, how we assign responsibilities, and what the cost associated with that is. The majority of that cost is personnel and their benefits. 80% of that cost is driven by personnel and benefits. So our budget's in very good shape, and I think you'll notice the $1.3 million is totally related to ESPLOST, and that is because there was a budget of $5 million included for the remaining projects, and we're only going to end up spending about 3.8. So that's your negative number. Here's a comparison between 17 and 18. Notice again, our general operating budget did not increase that dramatically. Most all of the increase that you see there is funded by the increase in state allotment and the state sending money to take care of the increased benefits cost. That's the increase that you see. The governor proposed a 2% raise for all educators, and so we have to follow that mandate as it comes down, and we certainly don't provide a 2% to our certificated staff without providing a 2% to our non-certificated staff. The bus drivers, custodians, school food service secretaries, the folks that do a great job supporting our work, receive the same 2%. So the rest is increases to teacher retirement and health insurance. I think there was a question asked at the last input session. We want to put together a slide to answer that. How much money by percentage do you actually spend on administration? If you'll notice right here, there are 2 numbers right there. School level administration accounts for about 6% of our budget. General administration, which is what we fall into here at the central office, 2.76. The really impressive number here is there had to be a state mandate put in place several years ago to make school systems spend over 60 or 65% on instruction, because lots of them had that number out of kilter. You'll notice here that instruction, we're almost at 67% that we're spending on instruction of our kids, and that's where the huge percentage ought to be. Maintenance includes lots of things other than just bricks and mortar. It includes utility bills, insurance, lots of things that fluctuate from year to year. Why do we do this? Why do we put ourselves through the budget process? Why do we make sure that we're spending the right amount of money? Make sure that we're being accountable to the taxpayer and transparent with everything that we're doing. There's not any of our budget figures that aren't available to you out on the transparency website, but we do this because when we allow students to underperform, and underperform means on the track to not graduate or become dropouts of high school. For every one of those that we let go through Union County, and I say we allow, because I've heard Mr. Hill have the conversations and the other teachers and administrators in the halls that said, did you pass your test today? Are you on track to graduate? Don't disappoint me, okay? Every one of those that we lose in our community diminishes the leadership capacity and the future that this community has. Every single one. So at 98%, I tell you we aren't where we want to be. Because we'd sure like to be able to tell you that 100% of our students were graduating from high school and would come back into the community as contributing members of society and also as leaders to serve on this Board of Education, the City Council, as the County Commissioner, you name it. That's where I want to see them come back. So we invest in every kid because we don't want to lose a single one through that process. Now's the public input session. I'm going to turn that over to the chairman. She facilitates that. We're going to try to accommodate everyone that is signed up to share information with us up here at the podium. We're going to try to accommodate all 21. We have 21 speakers. You will have a 2-minute time limit instead of a 3-minute time limit just because of sheer numbers. We have another meeting scheduled at 7 that we have to honor. That's a published agenda, and we got to start at 7. So it'll take us about 40 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Rayfield. I would have a disclosure I'd like to read first. Budget input session, Union County Board of Education. The purpose of the budget input session is to gain suggestions and feedback from the public concerning the proposed 2018 budget for the Union County Board of Education. Board members are not required to answer questions or debate the issues. The board as a whole will listen, record, and consider your input during the budget formulation process. This session is scheduled for 40 minutes, for actually 1 hour. We ask that everyone be respectful and professional, refrain from arguing or debating, limit time to 2 minutes per speaker if possible, provide only input that will be beneficial to the budget process, refrain from referencing individual employees and or students' names and personnel/confidential information. And with that being read, I'd like to ask the first person, which is Andrew Smith, to come forward. You just happen to be the first one on the sheet, sorry.
Well, I signed the second paper. I was thinking I was being smart there. Signed the second paper on the table.
They gave it to me first.
Oh, well, I just got the lucky draw. I'll go play the lottery tonight when I leave here. I'm just here tonight to just thank the board as a whole for what you do. I know oftentimes the board comes under a lot of heat and a lot of fire, as well as Dr. Rayfield and the administration and just all the staff really in school. I learned a lot of this last year as I was running alongside Jana for the District 1 seat on school board. Just things I was hearing in the community from voters was really discouraging. And so Jana, I thank you for winning the election. But everything that y'all do I know is so thankless. And just the programs that we've implemented in the school system. I've had the opportunity to work in 2 other school systems in the North Georgia region. And by far, Union County is at the top of where I've been able to work. In addition, I've worked in this school as well as a couple others. And just the money that we spend on these kids is not a crazy amount of money. And I just want y'all to realize, and to the community just to realize the impact that we're having on the kids. I have a great relationship with a lot of students, and just hearing how they talk about different programs that have been implemented have literally changed their lives. And you know, it's one thing for a kid to say that, but it's another thing for me to look at that child and to see that it did change that child's life through 4-H, band, choir, sports, drama, all of those different things. I've seen a lot of kids really have a 180 turnaround in their lives. And so I just want to thank y'all, and thank you for what you do, and thank you for what you do for in the community, in our school, and on the school board.
Thank you, Andrew. Please know if I misstate your name, it's not intentional. This is one of the worst things I do is I pronounce names wrong. Michelle and Bill Granat. Did I say that right?
Gurnett, close enough.
Granat, sorry. Thank you.
Wasn't really planning on speaking tonight. They said to put my name down just in case. I'd like to start by reiterating what Andrew just said. Thank you very much for performing this thankless task. My son Michael has been in the school system since 3rd grade. He's now in the STEM program at the high school. He's in 9th grade. And I think that that is only because of what you as a group have done for us. That's really all I wanted to say, reinforce the fact that you guys are doing the right thing. Don't let anyone tell you differently.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next is Jim Hughes.
Can I pass for now?
Yes, sir. We love you, Jim, by the way. Rick Maddox.
Thank you for giving me a couple of minutes, and you do have one of the toughest jobs known to mankind. It's just a great responsibility to have children in your control and protection, and I compliment you for doing a good job. And I'm just here to say that my wife and I have a lifelong commitment to public education. We're both retired educators, and we would be disturbed by any effort to reduce the contribution that we in the community are making to the public schools of Union County. You know, being an American citizen is a lifelong commitment. And while she and I are approaching our mid to late 60s, and are homeowners and landowners in Union County, we see no reason whatsoever to diminish our contribution to the public schools that have really made us what we are today. And it's not a commitment that ought to be limited by a person's age. Somebody helped pay for my public school education. My parents were poor, and the taxpayers, some of whom were retired, some were widows and single folks, helped send me to the University of Georgia and Georgia State, where I earned a master's degree and a doctorate. And so I feel that it's my role and an important part of being an American to continue to contribute to the education of children in this county until I can't anymore. And I thank you for hearing my concern.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gary Ledbetter.
Hi, I'm a parent of 2 of your students. I'm an educator in a different school system in Nerissa. And when I share with my colleagues what is happening in this school district, they're impressed. I'm impressed. My wife and I moved here in 2011, and we chose Union County because of the reputation of the schools. We could have lived pretty much anywhere in North Georgia, and this is where we decided to be. I am thrilled by what you do. I am thrilled by what you do, sir. And I just want to say, you know, as a parent of rising 9th grade twins, one of whom will be in the STEM department and one who is a special needs student, I'm amazed at the quality of what happens here. My son, who is a special needs student, has had uniformly creative and surpassing teachers. Just wonderful individuals who kept him engaged and dealt with the baggage that comes with that. And so I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you.
And I definitely support what you do. I have no problem paying my taxes to support this school system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jean?
You just said put down yes in case I did.
Okay, I'll skip you, okay? Thank you. Okay, Jim Minor, come forward.
With your permission, I'll read it so I don't wander. These are some thoughts on the proposal to eliminate school property taxes for senior citizens. For my wife and I. We each had the benefit of 12 years of public education, which cost more than our parents paid in school taxes. These costs were borne by others in the community. They, our parents, became part of the others when they had no children in school and continue to support the schools for the good of the community. Our children were in public schools for a total of 24 years, which costs more than we paid in school taxes. These costs were borne by others in the community. We became part of the others when we had no children in school and continue to support the schools for the good of the community. There have been many years that we have paid school taxes when there was no specific impact on our family. Is this unfair? We think not. We live in a world where our lives are affected by the talents and behaviors of all of the products of our education system. We live cheek by jowl with the products of whatever education system we have, and this impacts our lives both socially and financially. We also live in a world where political forces are trying to destroy the public school systems with private school vouchers and other means, rather than trying to strengthen and improve the public school systems, which have been the source of citizenship and an informed electorate for most of the life of our country. In a county with as many retirees as we have, many of whom are well off, to free them from school taxes altogether would put a huge burden on the remaining taxpayers, many of whom are less well off, and many of whom are struggling to educate their children, as evidenced by the number of students receiving lunch assistance. Tax relief for senior citizens already exists in several ways, including an obscene reduction in state income taxes for senior citizens. It may be appropriate to consider some considerations for low-income seniors. We believe that it is incumbent on all of us to assume our fair share of the cost of providing our children and grandchildren the best education we can. And speaking for my wife and myself, I say we stand ready to continue to pay our fair share to educate the young people of Union County.
Thank you so much. I'd like to add something. I've received some information today, and this, I did verify it, but I want to just read this real quick. There is now a senior exemption on school taxes if you qualify. An exemption of $10,000 is off of your assessed value for your school taxes, which what they base it on is 40% of the fair market value. The qualifications, there's an income qualification if you are below $72,000 of retirement and Social Security per couple or one individual, and you have to be over 62 years old. This is something that is there, and I was not aware, but or I would definitely have taken advantage of it for my mother. But I wanted people to know there is a $10,000 exemption out there right now for seniors. So, okay, next on the list is Bobby Wilson.
I pass, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, how about Jeff Bowman?
I was also on the list just in case, but my wife and I moved to the area in the early 90s, and when we decided to build the home, we chose Union County intentionally. We both work in Towns County at Young Harris College. We now have 3 kids, in a week anyway, graduated through the system. Our 4th child is a rising junior. He's in STEM. He's been in the band, he marches, he sings in the choir. He is involved in the theater program. So we're very thankful for all of those things, and we hope to see them continue. I'm more than happy to pay my fair share of the taxes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Will Stafford.
I feel like I'm echoing what a lot of people have said today, but you guys, we just really appreciate everything you do as an employee at Union County Schools. It's nice to see such a school system that's so well respected, and it's thanks to you all and all our staff and administration. We're just very fortunate here, and I'm excited to have our children go through this school system. So I just wanted to thank you, all the board members, for what you do. Thank you.
We thank you too, and all the teachers and staff. Next is Melanie Stranger.
Stanger, but that's okay.
Stanger.
Everybody calls her.
Well, I told you, I was going to get some of these wrong.
If you want to say something, come. We just moved to Union County in August, And we've been camping up here at Bogue State Park for 20 years. We knew we wanted to retire here, and we just decided we'd had enough of Gwinnett County and decided to sell our house and sell my bakery and liquidate everything and come up here because of that little girl right there. And I can't tell you the difference that Union County schools have made in this 1 year. Those teachers love my daughter. They hug on her. That didn't happen in Gwinnett County. And I don't know how much they spend per student, but it's probably more, I don't know. But her education in this 1 year, I can tell a huge difference. It's worth it. It's worth all the sacrifices we made to come here. And she is very artistic, she's musical, and she is going to be taking advantage of all those things that are available in Union County School, and I hope it continues to be available. And we appreciate what you guys do, and I'm learning more about all this process the first time I've ever been to a meeting. But I'm glad she's able to be here to experience it as well and be part of it. You have anything you want to say?
Thanks to Union County Schools, I've been able to make all A's in most of my, I think all but one of my classes. And now I'm just glad that I have everything that I needed. Thank you.
Mike Souther.
Yes, I want to come here and thank you all today for continuing support of the Science Olympiad team. Don't know if any of you have had the opportunity to go, but they have a regional competition. And this past Saturday we had the state competition. Over 1,300 children from across the state. A lot of charter schools, a lot of magnet schools, a lot of science schools that I didn't even know existed were there. And the competition was very tough. This is the second year in a row they've been able to go. My daughter, Michaela, is in the 4th grade, and never had heard of this program until probably 4 years ago from Miss Cook, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And my daughter got involved, and I had to find out. So I do appreciate the continued support, and hope it continues in the future for the Science Olympiad team. And I want to also say to the board, the teachers, Ms. Beavers and all of them do a very good job. Please thank them for us. Thank you.
Thank
you. We might be sharing a pair now. Okay. Kim Terry, please.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, she's good. This one's not my fault. Steve, somebody, I can't. Oh, sorry, Steve Hill. Sorry. I thought it was we.
I'm gonna let my wife
He said
speak.
he's not going to speak.
I wrote, but I didn't speak.
When it's my turn.
Okay.
What she called her?
Kathy Hill.
Well, I don't think I can hold a light to anybody who's been up here, because what I've got to say echoes exactly what they've said. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. All of the staff and students. Our school, I'm so proud of our school system, and I've lived here all my life. My whole family has lived here for many, many years. We were probably here when the place was settled, brackets, the Harris. I mean, we're rooted here. But we've always had a good school system. We've never wanted to stay in one place and be stuck there. We've always been progressive. Our commissioner's progressive in what he does for the county. Everybody wants to be us. All the surrounding counties would like to be like us. And they want it, but they don't want to pay for it. They want to keep their taxes for themselves, but they're hurting their students and their future. Students are their future. We're not going to be here forever. And my husband wrote a few things, and I have to read some of them or he'll be upset. But he actually went to school in Murphy, North Carolina, and that's where he was raised. And he said the difference in Union County and Cherokee County, Murphy, North Carolina, is daylight and dark difference. He said, you know, Their school has stayed just like it was. Buildings have not changed. In '59, the building was built. It's never changed. They've never improved it. They don't improve their programs. Their students are not getting anywhere near the education the students here are. Faculty and staff and board, y'all are amazing. You see a future and you're going that way. You're not staying in one place like they are. But he wanted me to also read part of it. He said that he brought his family here. He was born and raised over there, but we moved up here so our kids could go to school in Union County because he knew that this was the best place for them. If we were still in Cherokee County, they might not even have gone to college. Definitely wouldn't have had as good of an education. And our county is the envy of all the surrounding counties. They want what we have. And a major reason we have such a progressive county in a lot of areas is due to vision and the fact that we have a sole commissioner who cares about the people in our county, students and their families. We have a wonderful faculty here at our school. The teachers are amazing. They do a great job. Anyway, that's not everything he wrote, but he just wanted everybody to know that due to the way our county is run, that our schools are run, we have a magnificent program here, and it's not the same everywhere else.
Thank you.
Carrie Rittenhouse.
Good evening. My name is Kerry Rittenhouse. I'm a retired educator from Union County, but also worked in 3 different other school systems before I came here. In 2003, I had the pleasure of being able to choose to come to Union County because at that time I had a child in 3rd grade and one that was pre-K. One's now graduated, one is the high school. And we are just ultimately blessed to have our kids to have gone to school here. Now, because of my professional affiliations, I've been in schools all over the state of Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. And the opportunities that we're providing our kids here through our facilities and the programs, it really gives them a chance to do things that other kids just don't have. So I want to tell you as a board, please don't stop that. Next year, the ESPLOST comes up for renewal. We need to see a list of what we need. And we need to seriously think about doing that. Because just like that man said a minute ago, go up to Murphy and see what the buildings up there look like. When we play ball up there, Jim Hughes, your coach that was here, we've been all over. You go look at their facilities and you look at ours. There's just no comparison. People come here and they go, wow, this is really something. So please keep that up. And I think the citizens of Union County, you'll find out that they want to keep that support going because we want those opportunities for our kids. So please keep up what you're doing. We're really proud of you, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to say that.
Thank you. Beth Hand.
Thank you. I really don't have a whole lot to add because everybody's been so positive, and I'm thankful for the work that you do. I know it's difficult. I can't imagine. I'm glad you're there, and we aren't. It's easier to be an armchair quarterback, and go, but my husband and I both graduated from Union County High School, and we moved away, and we moved back in 2012. But the decision to move back hinged on how well the school system was doing. Because we lived in Forsyth County, which has excellent schools. So why would we leave if there weren't opportunities, that were equivalent here? And so, of course, we looked at that and considered that, and we moved back because the opportunities are here. And we moved back to a great blessing of a much lower millage rate, which we were very excited about, and appreciate that. And I think that the ESPLOST is a blessing as well because it keeps our property taxes low, and it helps fund projects to improve our educational system. We have the Fine Arts Center, we have the Agri-Science Center, and next year when the ESPLOST comes up, if you need help coming up with a list of things to spend money on, I've got several ideas. You know? I mean, I can give them to you right now, or you can just give me a call. But I'm very thankful for that. The Chromebooks that all the kids have gotten, my 4th grader is better on PowerPoint than I am. And quite frankly, I haven't had to replenish notebook paper or pencils this year because they can all their work on the computer. I mean, it's fantastic. And I'm very grateful in the elementary school that the pit is finally getting some air conditioning, right? Because the pit really is an appropriate name when you get hundreds of bodies in there, all hot and no airflow. So thank you for that. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the hard work that you do. And we support you. We support your decisions on ESPLOST and our village rate. And keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thibodeau.
Hello. I would say this is more like a Baptist revival than a budget meeting. In fact, no one is here to argue the merits of public education or the millage rate or anything of that nature. I'm a product of the public schools. My husband is as well. We think Union County has a fine school system. This is about fiscal responsibility. A $1.3 million deficit is not fiscally responsible. And when we complain about the state and we complain about the federal government spending more than they take in, this is where it all begins. And so, you know, I would suggest that rather than having a pep rally, which is very nice, but usually is confined to a football field, that we talk about the budget and talk about numbers.
Dr. Rayfield, would you answer Ms.
I think
Thibodeau's?
if you'll reference back just a few minutes ago to my presentation, I highlighted for you that that wasn't a $1.3 million deficit. It has nothing to do with the general fund. It was because it was $5 million budgeted for projects. We only spent 3.8. So that is a figure that has to be advertised. It has to be there because the numbers don't match, but there is no $1.3 million deficit.
Thank you, Dr. Rayfield. Jenny Yost.
My points have been made in states, and I'm kind of locked in, so I'm done.
Bailey Patton.
Is that close enough?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm the only student speaking today, so I'll speak for those who aren't. I'm also reiterating what many people said so far, as in, this is a good idea. ESPLOST is a good idea. I've been in this school system all my life. I'm involved with a theater program in the chorus. I just want to say that the fine arts programs have made a huge impact on my high school experience by not only giving me the chance to express myself in more ways than I thought to express myself, but giving me the opportunity to be a part of something bigger than myself and make it beautiful. Thank you for the support you have given us at UCHS. We are very grateful for all the opportunities we've had at the school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alicia Newell. Okay. Dig Sowers.
Thank you. I came here tonight to thank you. The last time I appeared before this board was I'm going to beg you to build the Fine Arts Center. We'd been promised that in the previous splosh, and then of course the economy went down, but you did. And what a fantastic job you did. I would invite anyone who is opposed to any of the buildings that are being built here, and that includes the Ag Center or any of them, to come out. Come to the Fine Arts Center. Come to a concert, watch the kids sing, play instruments, the jazz band, the chorus. Come to the drama class and watch one of these plays that they put on. They've had 2 musicals. I mean, this is a small town up in northern Georgia. These kids are fantastic, and you gave them that opportunity. So that's why I was here tonight. I want to thank you for what you've done. Please keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I have called everyone's name on the list. Mr. Hughes, have you decided you want to come forward now? We have just a couple minutes, so is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, ma'am.
You're welcome. Hi, my name is Claudia Dupree, and we are Union County residents. Unlike most or many of the folks here, we don't have a child in the Union County school system, but we are very much supportive of what you all do as the board and in the school system and in our county. We relocated here in large part because of the quality of life here, and part of that is the school system and all that it brings for the children and the parents and the community. So we're old enough that we could qualify for whatever other exemptions, Lord knows, they could come up with, but it should never be an either or. Our millage rates are low, our taxes are low, we are not assessing, and I'm speaking as a realtor now for 45 years, we're not assessing it at market value. We all know that. We all look at our tax bill, and I'm very grateful for it, by the way. But having said that, when you want to do something, you find the money to do it. And we need to keep these programs for these children. It is imperative. It makes such a difference in the quality of life for them, for their future, for how they're going to interact as part of the citizenry of this country. And there could never be a more sensitive time about that than there is now. So I would really encourage you to go forward knowing you have huge community support. And I know that you see that here. And there's people in the hallway that aren't even in here. So we are of the elderly group, and we are more than willing to keep paying whatever taxes you want to put on us to pay for the school system that you have offered these children this great opportunity. If I could get my son from grandson from Flagstaff, Arizona here, he'd be here. I'd try to ride his mother. So thank you very much for all you all do, and thank everybody here for being here, because part of it is the community coming forward to let you all know what is in their heart and what they feel strongly about, and that gives you the emphasis to go forward. So it's a good thing you've got both. We've got your back. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought I was on the list, but apparently the yes didn't get me on the list.
Well, between my glasses breaking, I might have missed some, but I didn't think I did. But
That's okay. Actually, as relatively new, we've been here a while, residents, having no children or grandchildren in the school system here, it's really interesting and impressive to hear the outpouring support, which is what it should be, because that does speak to a very well managed and well directed school system. Dr. Rayfield, thank you very much for the information that was shared tonight, very helpful. I do have a few questions. What does CCRPI stand for? I come from an industry that's full on acronyms, but that one escapes me totally.
College and Career Ready Performance Index.
Okay, interesting, very good. That is very impressive to have those kinds of scores, and being someone who's not in the industry, did not know that. While I think it's all very impressive, it is still an obligation of the taxpayers to be responsible in verifying how our dollars are used. And when I was here the last time, I talked a lot about the Ed Center. I did see a school bus there, so I'm feeling encouraged. And I think our responsibility is making certain that we are putting the right things in place for the children that are in fact going to have a utilization rate that warrants the dollars that we're investing. So I did want to at least ask, what are we doing about utilization rates, particularly around the Egg Center? Are we encouraging more? Are we looking to do more with the classes out there? How are we going to make that $3.9 million or whatever the dollar value is a value to our students that in fact choose an egg-based career?
The board want me to enter into a question and answer session?
Let's make some notes and
Okay.
let's get back with
That's
you,
fine.
because they just handed me 4 more pages. Unfortunately, we had a cutoff time at 6 o'clock, and so I don't want to pick and choose from names, so I want to answer as many, or let people speak as much as I can, but we have to go into session at 7. So I think we could take a couple of more.
And I have one other comment I want to make, and then I'll sit down. I would be interested to know what the budget process is that includes really scrutinizing how we're spending our dollars, and are they giving us the payback? And I'm hearing, obviously good graduation rates. Are we spending dollars in the areas that are really supporting the students as they are venturing on to college, skill-based, technical schools, career-based work environments after graduation?
One comment I want to make. A couple of you, well, I guess it was 4 years ago, we had a gentleman come in, and he had been teaching at the technical school, and told us some things that were very informative. So I think people need to know we do listen, and we want the input. And due to his desire to help children, things were put into our school system to teach the children basic life skills that you assume they're getting at home, which I have to admit my son did not pick those up very well. So, we do listen, and I think the success at the high school level and the graduation rate, these kids are graduating with more confidence, graduating with the skills that they need to be successful, whether it's in the workforce or college, or they would have been dropping out.
You should come to our scholarship night and see the millions of dollars of scholarships that'll be awarded next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock at the Fine Arts Center. I would invite you to come to that.
Thank you.
I've went, and you just leave amazed at the support of the community for our children and the money that they get. It's amazing. I think we can take, Mr. Hughes, would you wanting to speak now?
Not really, but I will. Okay. I turned this down twice to speak, but I did hang around. The main things I wanted to find out, I found out before the meeting. The circulation of the $1.3 million deficit thing, which I was almost positive was not true, but that's the way things happen on social media today. You can put anything you want to on there and everybody knows it. And the other thing was the 2% raise for the certified and the non-certified, which I was really, that's important to me, and for a bunch of reasons. I'm retired now, but I went through the furlough days, and my wife, teacher also, she went through the furlough days. There was no break on taxes during those furlough days. There was a break in our salary, but our taxes were the same. We paid the same as everybody else in the county. So I kind of felt like that was kind of a slap in the face from the state. And then the state changed a lot of their funding stuff to stick it to the counties, nothing personal against you guys, but a lot of that state money that used to come got put on your shoulders. You either had to pay it or you couldn't. And, you know, our county, if you look at our millage rate of 11, whatever, is about 6 to 7 mills lower than the average county in Georgia. And, you know, so I was speaking, I wanted to speak on that. And the non-certified, I thank you. The other thing, I was just going to point out one other thing, and this just shows my age here. I came here in 1985, and I was looking, Keith Ledford out there was teaching at the high school then. He was doing the carpentry, whatever you wanted to call it at that point in time. And between him and me, I'm afraid that we are the only two that really know the last time that the local, and nothing, this is nothing personal against you guys, but there was a local raise given to teachers and county employees. You guys have to pay on to what the state pays, but there has not been a local raise by itself from the county since 1992. Earl Odom put the last one in when he put the local supplement 4% and 7%, which went over 4 years. When I came in '85, it was $100 above the state. Then it went up to $200, and we were going good. Then Mr. Odom's last 4 years, he went 1%, 2%, 3 to 4, and 7 once you got over your 20 years. And again, this is not your fault. I mean, this is just, anybody that thinks we pay too much taxes here is wrong. You look at local supplements in Dawson County, Hall County, and all these, and Hall County's in a predicament right now. There was a thing in the paper today, they exempt over 70, people over 70 from school taxes, and that's now 20% of their budget they're not getting, and they have no way to make it up. So I appreciate what you're doing. I wasn't going to speak because everybody here was doing it for me, and they did a great job, but I want you to know I support you all the way. Thank you.
To entertain a motion that we close the 6 o'clock work session and take just a couple-minute break.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you very much for coming. We'll be back in a couple minutes and start the 7 o'clock meeting.